I think that in the past couple of weeks we've heard about Reddit, and it wasn't for Liga MX, but because of the whole Wall Street bets
Yeah.
and all that. But before that, I mean, there's a huge community out there that they're all English speaking. Like for the most part, that Reddit group is all English speaking, and they're just missing out on a lot of fans. I believe, because there comes a point in time where second, third generation Mexican Americans, they just don't know how to speak Spanish anymore. It's just the truth of the matter. They don't go back and learn the language, and then you miss out. Like, even though they watch the games, they don't understand the narratives behind it, and I think you're completely right. I think that there should be a market, and I was talking to John about it. They renew it in 2022. Um, so I'm hoping that we get more money through the renewal, but we'll see what happens. Liga MX is still one of the most watched um sports events in North America, behind basketball, behind uh the MLB. But when it comes to MLS versus Liga MX, they don't compare. And even sometimes, I was telling John, like, the European leagues, like Liverpool and all those teams, they might get high ratings once a week, but we get high ratings week in and week out. It's like in the millions, while maybe one game will get 400,000, but you base everything else, like every single game, and you put them together, and we're like 5 million a week.
The numbers are crazy, right? Because even with like it's hard. It's I guess it's really hard because like the MLS has always been on Univision, right? Since day one. Since day one when I was watching MLS in 1996, it was on Univision. That's where I watched it, and Channel 10 or ABC, and then even like la selección, Estados Unidos, the U.S. national team, they're always on Univision. Like since day one, they've been in Spanish, like all the time. They always put them in Spanish and English. And there was a little moment where El Tri was on ESPN. You remember that when Chepo was letting
Hmm.
the boat just sink? It was El Tri on ESPN, right? I remember watching that, and they actually had good commentators, man. That Polanco and I forgot who else, and they spoke Spanish. So when they narrated like the last names and they yelled the goal, it was dope.
The
You know what I
passion.
mean? It was real, and I feel like we got to kind of take it that way too. We can't just, I don't know, the Spanish media can't just always promote just one league. I feel like the Mexican league has to find a way to get into the English media too. I don't know, you know, I mean, obviously they're trying to make that partnership. They're trying to join these leagues and make up these new tournaments all the time, and obviously the World Cup together. So I don't know. I know they obviously know the money's here. We know when a team come. We talked about it last time. When teams come here, the market is here. And like you said before, maybe there's third generation kids that don't speak Spanish anymore. But not just that. Have you met, like we talked about, there's Centroamericanos, people from El Salvador, Honduras, people from Argentina that I know, people from other places, and they watch Mexican soccer. Like they watch America, they watch because some of their players that they root for end up on some of these teams. So I don't know, they're missing something, and we definitely have to. I mean, not we can't do anything about it, but we definitely have to see how they can get onto the English media for sure.
Yeah, we're for sure leaving money on the table, and like you said, I mean, I know a lot of people that are Guatemalan, Salvadorian, and they know the teams. Like, whether they want to admit it or not, they know the teams. Like, they know who the big teams are, and when they play and everything like that. Because I used to, when the Concacaf came around, I used to talk shit, and I would be like, oh, you guys are going up against America. How do you guys feel you guys are gonna do? And for the most part, like, the way they talked and everything, but uh they hated the fact that they were always behind on Mexico, and just, it was never a competition to us. To them, you ask them, and Salvadorians, they hate us for some reason. I don't understand why. I still don't get it. But every time we play against them, they just like, or anytime we, like you said, I think you brought it up in the show. You'll have Salvadorians that are just rooting for USA when we're up against them because they have a shot. But yeah, man, it's crazy, and like I said, I think that we're missing out, and we're leaving a lot of money on the table.
We as in Liam Ekis, us and PDC, we don't get a cut off that. But
Yeah,
but
with you,
yeah,
man.
it's just a rivalry, man. It's just a rivalry. Just like a lot of people from Mexico super dislike the US for political reasons. They take it onto the soccer field, right? I'm in between because I'm a born American citizen, I still root for the U.S. If the U.S. wins, I'm happy for them. When it comes to Mexico, I'm more of the f them. I know we're on your show, so we can't cuss, Danny. We gotta watch it.
That's okay.
Sorry,
It's
brother.
okay. No, it's
But
okay. As long as it ain't me,
but
it's all good.
but it was always that rivalry. Especially, I was the I was the kid that when I would go to TJ just to get under my cousin's nerves, I would root for the U.S. when the Mexico would play. I would cheer for the Mexico girls, but when the U.S. would score, it was like, ah. So it's big because at the same time, I do know a lot of people that don't watch Liga MX that are Mexican that prefer to watch the Premier League, and it's
Yeah.
everybody's preference. Like Danny's really big on making Liga MX big, and he waves that flag proudly, and I respect him for that.